Welcome to my channel. This is Mario Lord, also known as Real Estate Guru PK. On this channel, we talk about my real estate endeavors. We also have the top real estate producers and the top entrepreneurs in the country. Be sure to click the link below with Justin P with his Support Black Colleges marketing course. Also with Jason White's Crack the Code affiliate link, click that below as well. Also to support the channel, Webull, M1 Finance, Chase, Discover, Robinhood, and Public, a stock trading app. We hope you enjoyed this episode. This is Real Estate Guru PK signing out. How y'all doing? Welcome to another episode. We got a special guest.
Hello. My name is Kiana McCrae. I'm the author of Prison to Profits, and I am a serial entrepreneur. I have a fitness business as well.
So, how'd you start your entrepreneur journey?
Well, how I got started, I feel like growing up, I always inspired to be an entrepreneur. My dad's an entrepreneur, so I watched him a little bit. So I always knew, but when I was 26, is when I got my first LLC with Finessers Club Yannibabby. And basically what inspired it was, I don't want to work for anyone anymore. You know what I mean? I am a convicted felon. So I feel like it's just a little bit harder to get employment. And I just felt like, Yanni, do your own thing. Nobody's going to tell you what to do. You'll make your own plan and you'll figure it out as you go along. So...
Do you feel like everybody that did like prison time should be entrepreneurs?
I don't because when I first came home from incarceration in 2016, I literally thought like I couldn't get a job. So this was my mindset, But as I educated myself a little more and got to know a few people, there's actually a few jobs that you can get, a lot of jobs that you can kind of get out there with being a felon, just like construction and other forms of jobs you can get. So I don't think you should, but if you inspire to be an entrepreneur, of course, go after it. But there are placements and jobs you can get after being a felon. It's just not as easy, I thought, Got to work a little harder.
So what was like the final straw, like your last job where you was like, let me be an entrepreneur? Well,
like I said, I came home in 2016 and the one and only job that I had was at Equinox, which is a gym in Manhattan at the time. And I was working there 50, 60 hours a week, busting my ass. And then I realized that Equinox was getting paid like over $140 an hour per session. And I wasn't even getting half of that. I was getting about $50 to $60.
You was a receptionist or you?
No, I was a trainer. So yeah, I became a personal trainer, which was inspired by jail as well. So when I came home, I was lost. I really didn't know what to do, but I knew I had a passion for fitness. I knew I wanted to help people with the health and fitness journey. So I was like, okay, let's go there. So I went to school, I became a certified personal trainer, and then I got immediate job placement at Equinox. So that was a good thing about the school that I went to. So, I felt a little inspired and motivated once I figured out that the school placement was going to give me a job placement after, even knowing my history. So I was very vocal about it, couldn't hide it. Like, you can Google me and it's there. My first and last name. I was in a newspaper. So it's pretty big.
What would you do?
Excuse me?
What'd you do?
What did I do?
Yeah.
Well, I got sentenced and I got convicted for a grand larceny charge, which was at my job. Actually, I was a bartender and a waitress and a bar manager at different establishments in Manhattan. I mean, the crime that I got arrested for was at the Dream Hotel in Manhattan. And I was stealing people's credit card information and selling it to my boss. So basically, and I got in trouble for it. I was scamming, just straight up from Brooklyn. I grew up around a lot of scammers. I don't want to say I'm a product of my environment, but like I saw it. I grew up around it, and I saw the fast money, and I wanted to try it for myself. You know what I mean? And I did, and I got caught. You know, because I've watched it. Like I grew up in it, kind of, and nobody went to jail. Nobody went to prison, and the moment I did it, within let's say less than a year, I was arrested for it, and I got arrested twice. Oh wow! So let's not forget. Yeah, so I needed to go to jail. I feel like.
So you got arrested and then you like kept on doing it?
All right. So long story short, I got arrested for the first time in 2012 at a burger joint in Manhattan. And for the same thing, I had a skimming device, a black box. I was tapping people's information on the black box and I'll sell it to my source back in New York. Got arrested for it, but they let me go immediately. Like soon as I got to bookings, you know, they took my fingerprint. I've never been in trouble before. So because I wasn't,
the first time?
Yeah, because I didn't have a criminal history, they basically let me go. And I feel like I didn't learn my lesson from it. It just like taught me to be more strategic and more smarter at what I was doing, basically. And then about a year and a half later, I was at a bigger establishment, which was a 5-star hotel. And I got caught there. So then they were like, you know what I mean? You got in trouble for this before, you were in the newspaper. And the judge basically said, I'm going to teach you a lesson. You know what I mean? So I got sentenced to 1 1/3 to 4 years in prison.
So you did a whole 4 years?
No, I didn't. So when you get sentenced to a 1 1/3 to floor, it's just like a gap. So after you do 1 1/3, you're able to go to the parole board. And because of your history, because of your family and the support system you have, and basically the things that you've done in prison, like if you didn't get in trouble, they'll let you go home after 1 1/3. But if you are a repetitive felon, if you continuously get in trouble while incarcerated, you can do up to 4 years. Me, I actually made my first bid. I had a lot of support at home who wrote me letters. I was doing pretty good in jail. I did get into a few physical altercations, but other than that, I worked as a yoga facilitator. I stayed to myself. I worked out, and because of that, I was able to go home after 15 months.
Well, what did you get in fights about?
Excuse me?
Why'd you get in those fights?
I got into the fights. Well, I actually got into 3.
Oh, and
I actually got jumped. Yeah, I got jumped. But it actually turned out to be a brawl. I was playing spades. 2 women just like jumped me, and then my friends jumped in too. So long story short, my first fight, which was just between me and another woman, was I got my first box. So this was upstate in Bedford Hills Correctional Facility. I was new, and just being in prison, it could be very different. Like I was in a dorm room with about 50 to 70 women, and it was bunk beds. It was all packed up against each other. You know, everything that you owned personally was out there. It was like open for someone to take. So, you know, me just being new, I am very happy. I am very bubbly, and I feel like people took advantage of that, you know what I mean? So when I would go somewhere like to work, I came home and my things were missing. So I had like a lip gloss. Mind you, when you're in prison, every little thing counts, like even down to packets of ketchup, you know, like all of this I took for granted prior to going to prison, and just going there really shows you a lot about life. So with that being said, she stole a few of my lip glosses. So yeah, lip glosses doesn't mean too much, but like it was mine. I just got it. And my biggest thing was, I'm not going to let nobody play me. You know what I mean? I'm not going to let nobody think that they can steal from me and it be okay. So how the fight actually started was, I didn't know who took my things. I came back to the dorm as a newbie. I had like 1 or 2 friends I talked to, my bunkie. And actually a woman came up to me and told me like, Stacy stole your I saw her using it. So I just feel like very instigator moment. I was happy I knew, but they love hype in there. You know, it's boring in prison. So when someone gets into an argument or physical altercation, it's just like, it's the best thing ever kind of in there. So when she told me that, I didn't know what to do with the information. I must admit, I was very scared because I kind of knew something was going to happen. And just me being who I am, I was not going to let her take my lip glosses and not, get it back or at least confront her, So I end up going to her little dorm room, her little bunkie. And I said, I know you have my lip glosses. Can you give it back? She denied it. I ended up just actually ransacking her bed, looking for it. And then she hit me. So I hit her back and we started to fight. It was actually my first time in lock. And this is me just getting into prison. So 2 weeks after going upstate, I went to lock for 30 days. I went to solitary confinement. So already, as soon as walking in the door, it was just like an eye-opening experience. And if you know anything about solitary confinement, it's 23 hours lockdown. They feed you through the door 3 times a day and you get an hour of recreation a day. So I did that for 30 days.
How was that?
It was hard, It can really mess with a person mentally with being in lock, not be able to talk to anyone. For me personally, I've always practiced yoga. And I picked up the habit of reading books. So I feel like that helped me. James Patterson, he's like one of my favorite authors that I read in there. So just doing yoga and reading books and sleeping. I did that a lot, so to pass the time.
Was you depressed in there?
I was very depressed. I actually end up, when I first got incarcerated, I ended up losing about 15 pounds. Yeah, I was like 140 and I went down to like 125. But then I came home 195.
How much you weigh now?
I weigh 160. Oh. So I feel like
you 20 pounds lighter from
I lost weight since I've been home. I came home really big, actually. I didn't like it. I didn't like the weight that I gained. So it's like when I first went in, I was extremely depressed. I lost weight. But then I just started to, accept my situation and started to look forward to going home and just doing, paying my dues for, suffering the consequences basically for the actions that I did. And I did it. And when I started doing that, I started to eat a lot. You get 35 pounds of outside food a month from your family, have a great support system. So I was getting food left and right. And you can cook as well. I had a hot plate. So I was cooking every day. And after losing those 20 pounds, I actually end up gaining 70 for the remainder of my bed. Yeah.
What was you cooking?
I was cooking rice. So we were able to get food that was hermetically sealed. So, if it was canned food or like the Purdue chicken in the can, my mom, she actually mailed that to me every month. It was my favorite. The bag of Purdue chicken, sardines, corn, beans, like anything in the can or whatever. So I would cook on a regular, like the salmon that you have in the can. So I'll make like salmon, rice, and corn, which is one of my favorite meals. And I did eat a lot of ramen noodles. I would say, that's like the infamous jail meal is like what they have in commissary, what they give you. And I ate that quite often because I would jazz it up, put like chicken in it, salmon in it, Doritos. Like we took what we had and we made it work. You know what I mean? So because of that, we also had food underneath our bed. So everything we owned was literally in like a little cubicle with someone else, your bunkie. So with that being said, all of my 35 pounds, 50 pounds would go underneath the bed. And I would even eat in the middle of the night, So I feel like I was depressed my whole bed. And in the beginning, the depression was not eating at all. And then I turned it into like eating every day, a lot, and would sleep right on it, So I didn't even realize I was gaining weight. We didn't have mirrors.
Oh, for real?
No full body mirrors. No full body mirrors. And the mirrors that we did have was so blurry. So blurry. Like I barely saw myself while I was incarcerated, like actually looking in the mirror. And I don't want to sometimes. I was just ashamed. I was embarrassed of what I did, and it was hard. So it was just like, I didn't even want to look at myself. It was fine. Until I realized I gained so much weight down the line when I was coming home. I was like, wow, I'm fat, So that's what really jump-started the fitness career. I've always been passionate about yoga and fitness, but with the weight gain, I'm like, yoga's not going to really work right now. I got to get to it. I got to really get in the gym and stay consistent. And just doing that, that's what basically transformed to entrepreneurship and just wanting to help others with fitness as well. It's funny because I actually started working out a lot in jail. And went and went to like the COs and the captains and was like, hey, I want to do a class, you know, like I want to teach other women, because they would see me work out and they would want to work out as well. But we never had anything structured for us to do that. So I was actually trying to start like a weekly class, like a fitness class for women, something productive and something to pass the time. And it worked. So
how was you working out?
So, like I said, I was in a dorm room for a while. So I had like a little cubicle, very small, and I would work out right by my bed or in the yard.
So using like push-ups?
I was doing a lot of calisthenics, a lot of push-ups, a lot of sit-ups, a lot of squats, dips. And, you know, you would utilize the things that are around you, because we did have recreation. So we had like a park area that we would go to, and we had even jump ropes and things like that. So I would jump rope a lot. And yeah.
You would run outside?
I would run. People thought I was crazy. They'll look at me like, why is she doing this? You know? And so like a week later, they wanted to join me. So that's how it is. You know, if you want to do something, just go and do it. They'll make fun of you, and then they want to join you the next week.
How was the shower? Did y'all get a shower a day?
We did. So here's the thing. You can actually shower when you want. There was like, yeah, you can. Not in the middle of the night. I feel like they had times. So it'll be like, you can shower from like 8 a.m. until 12 p.m. And then like from 12
you shower like 3 times a day?
No, I would shower twice. I would shower about twice, because you couldn't shower after 10. So we had restricted times, but we can shower basically whenever we wanted during the day, except for when it was count. We would get count a lot. So basically that's when they had to count all the inmates in jail. So we had to stay in one place, and then COs had to come around and count us like numbers. Is
it like segregated like in men's prisons?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Like blacks stay with the blacks, Mexicans stay with the Mexicans?
No, it wasn't. I wouldn't, because I hang around everybody. It was a lot of black women. It was a lot of white, Spanish. Oh, it was very diverse. And I hung out with everyone. But I would say most of my friends were African American. But one of my best friends, she was white. You know, so everybody, you basically had a clique and you kind of stuck to them. And it was diverse. It was very diverse. It wasn't like you would only stick with your own culture, you know, or it wasn't. It was pretty cool.
You see Orange Is the New Black?
That's so funny. Everybody asks me this when they know I went to jail. I didn't actually. Maybe a few episodes.
Okay.
I did watch a few episodes.
I asked you if it was like that.
It is.
Oh, it is.
I would say it is like Orange Is the New Black. For sure. It was an experience. It was actually fucking crazy. Like, I needed it.
Did anybody die?
No, not while I was in there. But I saw a few people pass out, actually.
Why?
One time it was the heat. I feel like we're in the yard, and I guess a girl got dehydrated. You know, when you're in there, it can do a lot to your mental health, you know? So if you're really not on it, it's like easy to get sick. Or, you know, I don't want to say you do it to yourself, because like I said, it's a mental thing. So depending on how you feel and think and perceive things, that's going to be the outcome of what happens on a daily. And I just feel like a lot of women were getting sick and passing out, and purposely too. Sometimes it'll be on purpose because they wanted to go to the hospital. They wanted to go to the infirmary because you got better food there. They treat you better. So I feel like everybody, if you knew, like, you'll get around it. You know what I mean? There was a lot of lying and vindictive things going on.
Was everybody like a con artist in there?
I would say, I feel like I got the woman that actually jumped me. It was her and her girlfriend. I feel like she was.
They're like friends, or
no, like a lot of girlfriends. It was a lot of couples in there. So that's who basically jumped me, was a couple. One of the women in there, the woman, she basically manipulated me, act like she was my friend. You know, she saw I had support at home, so she had little things like cigarettes, and you can smoke actually cigarettes, but she had like weed, like things. She had contraband. So let's say that she was able to get a lot of contraband. So people would gravitate towards her because she can get the good stuff that we weren't allowed to get. And I gravitated towards her because of that, you know? And I thought she was just trying to be my friend, and come to find out she was just trying to steal from me. And it worked, you know what I mean? Like, I had my aunt, my grandmother put money on her books, and she never gave it to me, and she's supposed to. Things like that. And her and I fought in the bathroom. And the thing about it is, a fight that I got in, like, no one knew. Like, the COs let us fight in the bathroom. Yeah, they do that. They will do that. Like, they be like, listen, they don't want to do the paperwork. At the end of the day, if it's a big thing, you're at work, you got to do the paperwork. But like, a lot of the inmates get close with the COs, and especially if they know the drama, they're like, all right, I got 5 minutes in the bathroom. And basically that's what happened with me. Like, I really wanted to fight her, and the CO was like, all right, I got 7 minutes, do whatever you can, but then I'm stopping it after that. So I was able to get into a fight. It worked out, and then I beat her ass. And then her girlfriend came back within 5 hours and jumped me while I was playing spades with my friends. So that happened. I ended up going to lock, but only for a day. They let me out because I was jumped. You know what I mean? So I ended up winning that case, and just craziness. Like, bitches in there, they don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. They're ruthless. Mm-hmm. Everybody's for themselves. Mm-hmm. Totally. You know, you got some genuine people in there. Like, actually, I'm still friends with a few people from prison, but no, I would say 80%, you're out for yourself.
Was dudes writing you while you was in there?
Yes, I did. So a lot of my family wrote me mail. And honestly, like, being incarcerated, that means a lot, bro.
Did you have a boyfriend before?
I didn't. I did, but we broke up prior to being in. So I didn't have no one. I was single going in. But I did get letters from my mom and my friends. Even the woman that's here with me today, you know, she wrote me a letter a few times, and it means everything. Like, just the mail that we get and hearing your name called, it means a lot. It makes us happy, and it makes the time go by. You know, any phone call, mail, commissary, money, everything counted, you know?
Okay. I was going to ask you another question.
Yes, prison was a shit show.
So you was in there for a year and a half?
I was in it for a year and a half. When I first got arrested, I did 2 months in Rikers Island. Came out, $50,000 bail.
How was Rikers Island?
Right? Horrible. So prison is bad, but you live a little better. Rikers Island, there's no 35 pounds a month. You eat what they give you, and that's it. They did have commissary with little things in it, but just the living conditions, the metal beds, filthy. Everything smelled to me in Rikers Island. Really, a lot of crackheads, you know what I mean? A lot of drug addicts. And it was really horrible. Like, Rikers Island, I don't wish that on anyone, you know what I mean? Because it's really, really dirty. Really dirty and smelly. Okay. And the living conditions and how we sleep were bad. You know, same thing, dorm room with 50 to 70 women in it. And they will tell us when to shower. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So Rikers Island, way more strict. You know, way, way, way more strict and worse, I would say. A lot of corrupt COs and things like that.
So, like, leaving prison, like, there's, like, nothing that you went through, like, that's, like, worse than prison?
No, I would say prison is by far the worst thing I have experienced in my 33 years of living, for sure.
So everything out here is like a cakewalk compared to prison?
You know, I feel like not a cakewalk, but I feel like I could deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, just going through that hard experience and just, like, feeling my worst and being at my worst. Just any little thing now, just being out, I'm grateful for it. I'm happy for it. Or any negative energy or any type of business that doesn't go right for the time, I'm fine with that because I know I can deal with it. You know what I mean? It's temporary. Everything is temporary. You know, we're going to get through it.
Let's talk about your book.
Yes, Prison to Profit.
So what compels you to write the book?
Okay, what basically compels and inspired me to write it. First of all, I hid this for a while. I've been home for over 7 years now, and for the first 5 years, I didn't talk about it. Like, there are family members that didn't find out I went to prison until I wrote this book. So basically, it was something I was extremely ashamed about and didn't want to talk about. And then about 2 to 3 years ago, I started to work a lot on personal development and going to seminars and conventions and really putting myself around different individuals. And there was this lady on stage who really inspired me with her story. And I feel like we all have a story.
What was her name?
Excuse me?
What was her name?
Dang, it was a Grant Cardone. I don't remember her name. Okay, that's sad to say.
That's cool.
I know, but I was at a convention for Grant Cardone in West Palm Beach in 2021.
Okay.
And he had a lot of speakers there. And one lady just shared her story about how she thought of herself as being just such a bad person with the things that she did in her past and how she overcame it. And I'm just like, it made me think and reflect on my story. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very ashamed of what I did. You know, it's nothing I want to boast or talk about, but I just feel like where I am now in life, I have to share my story. And it was just very inspiring. So I decided, let's write a book about it. I do read often. That's one of the things I picked up from prison. I love to read books. And just reading books, I'm like, hey, I could do this. I'm no writer. You know what I mean? So just thinking like, oh, I'm not a writer, but I like to read books and I'm an entrepreneur. So we're going to make it work. We're going to figure it out as we go along, and we figured it out. And that's what basically inspired it, because I really want to help people with everything that I've learned and just sharing my mistakes and encouraging and helping people to do the same. We all go through things, especially things that we're ashamed of. I just feel like a lot of us have things that we've done that we're trying to take to our grave. I thought I was going to take this to my grave. But I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to help other people. I'm going to try to inspire others and then teach them about business and financial literacy, because this is what I've been doing hardcore for the past 4 years. And I've overcame a lot of obstacles, a lot of business mistakes, a lot of financial mistakes, a lot of life mistakes. So it's just taking accountability. You know what I mean? I just felt like I was ready to put it all out there. I got made fun of a lot. A lot of family members stopped talking to me. And I'm like, if I put it out there now, what you going to say? Now what the fuck you going to say? You know what I mean?
They stopped talking to you because you went to prison or because you was putting it out there?
Because I went to prison. So I would say, yeah. Okay. I had a lot of support on my mom's side of the family, not so much my dad. And it's crazy because they're very different. Like you would say they're like, they're very opposite, my mom and my dad. And like my dad is side of family, entrepreneurs, cops, lawyers. And then my mom's side of family, more of the hustle, the grind, the drug dealers, living in the hood, very different. My dad in Long Island, big picket fence house, and like the opposite in Brooklyn, basically. So with that being said, once I went to prison, a lot of my family just act like they didn't know me no more, basically. And it was fine. Like I said, it made everything worse for me, made me feel worse about myself. But then, like I said, as I got older and continued to make mistakes, not as big, I just feel like it was time to put it all out there. You know what I mean? It was time to free myself. It was time to take accountability and move forward and accept what I did and know that I'm not that person anymore. And I just decided to put it all in a book, basically.
In your bio, you talk about being a future wife and a future having future kids.
Yes.
So are you gonna share this with your kids? Like, what age do you think is appropriate to, or if you plan on sharing it with them, what age?
Most definitely. I definitely plan on telling my kids about my past and the things that I've done. So hopefully they won't make the same mistakes I did. But yes, I do want to have a family one day. My husband is coming. I don't know when, but he is. And the kids will as well. If the husband don't come, kids are still gonna be here. I'm gonna have my kid. I don't know who, but it's coming. But yeah, I think I'll. It's funny because my book is out there, So I feel like when my kids get old enough, I don't know, early though. I'm not gonna wait late. I'm not gonna let them find out from someone else. Okay. They're gonna find out from me. So it can be up from, I don't know, 7, I would say between 7 years old to 12 years old. I would try to push more to 10, 11, trying to make him understand a little bit more. Mommy made mistakes. She did things she wasn't proud of, but I overcame those mistakes, you know what I mean? And I took accountability for it. And that's one thing I always want from my kids. I want them to take accountability for what they do. I feel like that's the biggest thing, So yeah, they're going to find out. They're going to know.
Yeah, they are.
They're going to know. They're going to know. Like I said, my past is out there. Like, it's on Google. You know what I mean? It's on Google. And that bothered me a lot. You know what I mean? It's the fear of knowing about my past and just like, anything I do in life, it can come up. You know what I mean? So I just feel like putting it out there first. Like if you Google me now, the book is going to come up. You know what I mean? And then if you go down, you'll see the crime. So it's all there. You know what I mean? It's all out there. And I don't care anymore. Like I feel great. I'm just like so happy. I feel relieved.
When did you first stop caring?
I stopped caring, I would say pandemic. So 2020, you know what I mean?
Was it like a weight lifted off your shoulder when you stopped?
You have no idea. You have no idea. Just like the fear that I had and the lack of self-confidence I had because of my past. You know what I mean? So I don't have that issue or problem anymore. You know, I'm still scared with a lot of things I do and very uncomfortable. Writing this book, very scared, very uncomfortable. But you know, that's when you grow. You have to be scared. You have to be uncomfortable. And you have to just do those things in order to better yourself as an individual. And I knew that, you know what I mean? So I had to take that leap of faith and that step, you know what I mean? To say, you know, who's with me and who's gonna support me on this, cool. And who doesn't and wants to make fun of me, I'm cool with that too. So I would say 2020 is like when the pivot started to change for me. To just like start to put it out there.
I ask all my guests this, you plan on having kids?
I do, two.
Two? Boy and a girl?
Boy and a girl.
Okay.
And if I get 2 boys or 2 girls, we're going to try again to get that opposite sex.
Oh, for real?
We're going to keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you be mad if they wanted like a 9 to 5 and didn't want to be an entrepreneur?
I would want my kid to be an entrepreneur because I'm actually setting myself up right now for my kid that's not here yet. So I want them to follow in mommy's footsteps, and I plan to leave a legacy, you know, for them. If they want to continue what I'm doing, that's great. If they don't and want a 9 to 5, I'm going to support them 110%. Because at the end of the day, it's all about happiness. Like, you got to do what makes you happy. And entrepreneurship is not easy. You know, people make it seem like it's a piece of cake and 6 figures, 7 figures, but people don't see the hard work, the late nights, the crying, the tears, the figuring out how the fuck am I going to get this done? Like, people don't know that. So if you really don't have a passion and you're not concrete about something you want to do, I don't recommend entrepreneurship, honestly. So if you want to work for someone else and have that 9 to 5, I'm going to support my kids or whatever they want. But like I said, I'm going to show them how I did things, and hopefully, you know, they can have that mindset like I have. You know what I mean?
How long are you giving your future husband, like, till you start having kids?
Right away. I'm joking. All right, so let's say I meet my husband tomorrow, right? I would hope within 8 months to 2 years. You know what I mean? 8 months to 2 years. So it's like, you know, a little period I give myself. I mean, you want to know someone for a little while. You don't want to jump in it. But I am 33. I am getting older. So I'm just not out here wasting time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not dating just to date. I'm dating looking for my husband. Okay. Yes.
Do the men know that?
They do. I'm very honest. I'm very transparent with what I want. You know what I mean? Like, at this point in my life, I'm an extremely decisive person. Like, even down to what I'm eating tomorrow for breakfast. You know what I mean? Like, I usually know what I want, especially with business and life. I know what I want. So I'm going to let them know what I want, and hopefully, you know, we can be on the same page when it comes to morals and values. And if we're not, bye-bye. See you later.
What's your criteria for a man?
I would love a man that's an entrepreneur. Okay. You know what I mean? I would date a 9 to 5 guy. I've always had a thing for men in authority, like cops or firefighters. So I like that type of 9 to 5 if you're doing that. But no, entrepreneur, grind. That's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad. Entrepreneur, grinder, hustler, just like me. You know what I mean? Like, I want my kids to see both of their parents being entrepreneurs, to motivate them and inspire them to hopefully do the same. And I don't know, I like a boss. You know what I mean? I need a boss man, a man that's decisive and knows what he wants as well.
What if he's like struggling as an entrepreneur?
That's fine, because I mean, come on, we all struggle. You know what I mean? I've struggled. It's very hard with entrepreneurship. I made a shit ton of mistakes that made me continuously struggle for years. So I just feel like it's all about our connection that we have first. I just feel like if I could meet a man that has a game plan, a business plan, and, you know, I'm not here right now, but this is where I will be in 3 to 5 years because of what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis to implement it, you know, I can deal with that.
Are you going to help him get there or no?
Yes. I mean, come on. What are girlfriend and wives for? We are made to help our men 110%.
The last guest I had, it was like, man, we're not helping you. You need to be there already.
To each his own, you know what I mean? And I always hear people always say, you know, don't date the potential, date what you see. I personally don't agree with that, because we all have to start somewhere. You know what I mean? Everybody's not making 6, 7 figures after a year. You know what I mean? To me, it's this.
So he could just be making $30,000 a year. You'll be straight.
No, 30,000. I can't. You know.
So what's the lowest?
The lowest, I would say, it depends on what state we living in, first of all. Because, you know,
Texas?
If it's in Houston, I would, at minimum, I need you to make like 90.
90?
At least 90, 80, 90K.
Okay, that's a nice little chunk. 90's good.
90's great.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want in Houston.
Yeah, everyone. I mean, in New York,
no.
I mean, 150.
You need
know what I mean? At minimum, like,
Atlanta?
come on.
About Atlanta?
Atlanta, about 100. You know, about 100. So I just want a man who hopefully can make six figures, if not already.
Well, but you just say firemen and the police, they not making.
They not. But that's you know. But I just feel like mindset. It's your mindset, because even though you're 9-to-5 workers, what are you investing in? What are you spending your money on? Okay. Are you buying? You know, are you buying stocks? Are you buying real estate? You know, like, what are we doing? It's not how much money you make; is how you spend your money. Okay. Because you can be a millionaire, have bad habits. Let's talk about it. You can be a millionaire and be broke.
So say he's a fireman, he's making 50, but he's investing. That's cool?
I mean, he has to be investing. That's number one. I go hard for that.
So you gotta have stocks.
You gotta be investing. So not only stocks. If it's not stocks, real estate or something to accumulate.
It's hard to get into real estate and invest.
Excuse me?
It's hard to get.
It's hard to.
Hold on. You mean like rental property? You mean like Airbnb? Like, what do you?
It could be many things. I just feel like you gotta have a mindset to want to do better. You know, when you are working, you're trading your time for money. You know what I mean? I want to do the opposite. You know what I mean? I'm trying to have my money work for me. I'm trying to get all my time back. So I feel like if I have a man that's on the same page as me, 100%, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt and we can run with it. Okay. But if like, you can be rich, and if you have really bad habits and you're not investing, you're not doing anything for your future. You're not trying to build a legacy. You know what I mean? So if I had that firefighter or cop that's not making that much money, but he invests $300 a month, or, you know, something towards the future, because I'm really big on the future, I'm gonna give you the time of day, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. So but I'd rather a successful man. Like, let's be honest. Okay.
So if a guy comes correct, so all the guys got to come correct, and they got to.
To me, you got to come correct. Okay. Listen, I work very hard, very, very hard, and I don't have no time to waste. You know what I mean? It's all about my business and self-care right now. So if I'm letting you into my space and giving you energy, it has to be worthwhile.
Can you have kids?
Yes, totally. I'll go up to 3.
He can have 3 kids?
Yeah, he can.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
So you cool with being a stepmom?
I'm so cool with it. They moving in. What's up? Like, I'll take care of your kids. They mine now too.
Oh, that's
straight
nice.
up, big that's time. Nice. People got kids these days, and I know a lot of them. And granted, ideally, I would want a man that doesn't, you know, because I would want to experience our first child together. Mm-hmm. But if not, you're not tripping. Stepmama, let's go. Mm-hmm. Stepmama energy all day, and I'm gonna love her, the mom too. Mm-hmm. We're gonna be a big happy family.
I can hear your New York accent when you said that.
Excuse me?
I can hear your New York accent when you said that.
Oh, word? Yeah. I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Well, where you see yourself in 5 years?
Where I see myself in 5 years, married, 2 kids, a dog or 2. A dog or 2.
What city?
Making over $500,000 a year. Excuse me?
What city?
Here's the thing. Right now I have a place in New York and Florida. So I always want to have multiple places, but I feel like settling down might be, it's looking like Atlanta. If you want to be honest.
What if he was like in Dallas and he was like, you got to move out here?
Then I'm moving.
For real?
I will move for my man. Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. To me, I'm an entrepreneur, and I just feel like as long as I have my laptop and Wi-Fi and be able to travel a little bit if I have to for work, I'm willing to live anywhere in the United States. Like, let's be honest.
Okay.
100%.
So how was your upbringing in New York?
My upbringing was pretty good. You know, my parents separated when I was like 3 or 4. Lived with my mom in a 2-bedroom apartment, Canarsie, Mill Basin of Brooklyn. For high school, I was 13, 12, 13, and I moved to Long Island to live with my dad. So I feel like I lived with my mom for half of my life, and then from 12 to 18, I lived with my dad. So I lived with both of them. Very different experience. You know, I've never really, if anybody knows about Canarsie or Mill Basin, place, and it's not really the hood of Brooklyn so much. You know, I am around the hood. Within 15 minutes, there's the hood. So just having the amount of cousins that I have and aunts and uncles, like I was basically raised in the projects too. You know what I mean? I always wanted to go to my aunt's house. I always wanted to go to the hood. So I was basically raised in the hood, and then moving to Long Island was very different. You know what I mean? So quiet, more white people, more Spanish people, and living in a house. You know, I never lived in a house before, had my own room. So it was nice. It was a very different experience. Just living with both of my parents and them actually co-parenting really well. You know what I mean? So it worked out. But then by the time I turned 18, literally graduation day, like I moved out. I moved out and like started my own thing. From young, I grew up fast. At 16, I had an ID that said I was 21. So it's like at 16, I was getting in all of the adult spots. I always feel like my brain was a little bit of ahead. And yeah, by 18, I just very hot-headed. You know what I mean?
You was angry a lot?
No, I wouldn't say angry. I was happy. I'm a very happy, effervescent person, but like, don't fuck with me though. Like, don't play with me, you know? I am a fighter, I would say. I'm thinking about it in retrospect, it's pretty crazy. I've had a lot of fights in my life. I'm not touching nobody these days. You know, we ain't going to jail. You know, no physical altercations. My last was in prison.
Gonna break your nails.
You know, and they pretty long. So no, we're not doing that. We don't touch people over here. I'll take you to court before I touch you. But my life growing up was pretty good, I would say. But like I said, when I was younger, I did experience a lot of scamming in my family and a lot of things. So it's always kind of been in the back of my head to just like get the fast money and things like that. And it started at like 19, 20 years old when I started to scam, you know, and just saw money, was blinded by it, and was spending, got an apartment, got brand new cars, just like made a lot of dumb decisions.
Did they take all the cars?
No. So here's the thing. Remember, I got arrested at my job, right? So I was making money, and at that time I was a bartender and things. So I was making up to like over $1,000 a week already without the scamming. So it's like I proved my income. So luckily they didn't take any of my belongings that they had for me. Only thing, when I came home, they did hit me with restitution. Oh. So I had to pay. I had victims.
So you had to pay all them back?
Not all of them, because if you want to be honest, I got over 100 people, but it was 2 particular victims that were in my discovery of money that I allegedly stole from them. So with them, they actually went to court, like they fought to, you know, get me down, and it worked. And I had to pay restitution for 2 people. So it was two victims that I stole from, and it came up to $70,000 from both of these victims.
Both of them?
Both of them. Okay. So one probably 40K, the other probably 30. I don't know the exact number, but I had to pay back these 2 victims. When I came home, I had to pay them. So yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I came home over, I was so broke when I came home. When I came home, over $100,000 in debt. Yes.
Do they put that on your credit, or how does that work?
No, it actually did. It never did. When I first came home, I had no intention on paying my restitution. Like, let's be honest. I never spoke about it, never told anybody about it, and never like, oh, I got restitution. I just put it in the back of my mind, and I never thought I would pay it. But then I feel like 2018, like 2 years after I came home, they were calling me. Like, the Department of Justice. No, Department of Justice. You know, government was calling me left and right. So I'm like, fuck, like, I gotta figure out something. I gotta pay them, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, like, I was still not struggling, but still getting back on my feet with everything. And I was tired of the harassment. So I set up a payment plan, and I started to pay them little by little. But it was in 2020 when I started to make really good money that I just started paying them back in lump sums. And as of almost a year ago, I paid them off.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah, I'm so happy about that. It was very stressful. I don't like to owe people.
Yeah, me neither.
Never. You know, it's not my thing. You know, people borrow from me. I don't borrow from them, you know? So... yeah, that's what inspired the book actually too. Just like hidden milestones. I was just like, I gotta share it and share the struggle. Like everybody always share the things that they've done and the accomplishments. But how did you get here? Like, what's the backstory behind it, you know? And I just feel like I always want to share that first and foremost before telling people like what I'm doing now and how much money or whatever, you know?
So if somebody wanted to start a book, what are the tips or advice would you give them to start a book?
My advice for others to start a book would be first read a lot of books. So you got to do that. Get at least 50 to 70 books read.
What book would you tell them to start?
Well, it depends on what you're trying to do. You know, me as an entrepreneur and just working on personal developments, I looked for a lot of self-help books, a lot of millionaire mindset books, a lot of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, just entrepreneur and money-making books I really gravitated to, and just personal development. So I would, for myself, I started to read books like that, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Intelligent Investor, you know what I mean? A lot of money-making books. And how did the millionaires do it? You know what I mean? So I read a lot of that. Like, I like to study a lot of successful entrepreneurs and millionaires, billionaires, to see how they got their money and just hear the backstory. So that's what I want to know. It's always the backstory behind it. So with that being said, read a lot of books, get that under your belt, and then start to put yourself around other authors. You know what I mean? Like, I always tell people, if you're inspired to do something, if you want to be a plumber, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be an author, if you want to be a personal trainer, you got to put yourself around the people already doing that and get some advice and things from them. See, me, I'm not a writer, you know what I mean? But I knew I like to write books. I know I like to read books, and I knew with outsourcing and hiring people, they can help me. So that's exactly what I did. Like, I hired 12 people for this books. So just really have in your mind that you want to do it, and, you know, don't change it, and then start putting yourself around the people that are already doing it, and then start from there, and then start hiring people. You know, I always recommend Fiverr if you want to start small and build a little team, or just someone to do something for you quick. You have to outsource, you know. With me not being a writer or anything, I'm like, okay, I gotta hire a ghostwriter, I gotta hire a copywriter. I wrote over like 100,000 words for this book, but I didn't know how to like put it all together. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted a strategic person that's a professional at it, and that's what I did. You know what I mean? I hired.
How many mentees do you have?
Right now I have one mentor, but altogether I feel like I started being big on wanting to get mentorship in 2020. So like, my first mentor, Ross Camden, he's like a millionaire stock trader. So I actually got heavy into stocks in 2020, and took a lot of risk when it came to that. So I just knew I needed someone to help me that was already good at it. So I always recommend that, you know what I mean? Put yourself around the people already doing it.
How many mentees do you have?
Excuse me?
Mentees.
Not a lot, maybe like three. You know what I mean?
That's
3 to 4. Yeah, not bad. It's hopefully gonna grow. You know, I'm starting small now. So I don't know. I'm really hoping to help people, educate them with financial and business literacy. So anything that I learn, I'm ready to share with it. Like, my cup feels full. It's time to pour out into others.
If you had like words of wisdom for somebody else getting out of prison right now, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to believe in yourself, because you can't do anything unless you already have the mindset that you can do it. So just believe in yourself, make a plan, figure out something you really like or desire to do, and stick with that. You know what I mean? Because like I said, if it's not a passion, if it's nothing behind it, you are going to stop doing it. You know what I mean? The lack of motivation you're going to have is going to overpour in you every day because you're not passionate about it. So find that belief within yourself and believe everything that you do, and then find what you like and stick to it. You know, that's what I would do. Get a job. Get a job, okay? That's what you need to do.
So, if somebody was like looking for you, like on Instagram, what's your tell me your Instagram?
Well, I have 2 Instagrams, Yannibabby, BABY on Instagram. Also Prison of Profits right here. You just have to write Prison of Profits and it'll come up. And definitely check me out on my website, yanniwealth.com, YANNIWEALTH. I have a lot of things coming up. I'm actually dropping a financial literacy course in the next coming months. So yeah, follow me on that for all the business tips, the financial tips. Like, I'm here for it. Tax tips. Like, I done been through it all. And like all of the things that I've learned, I messed up first. Like, messed up big time, you know? So I just feel like learning from all the mistakes I've made is like the biggest lesson of learning, in my opinion. Like, make those mistakes, like make them, because that's like the only way that you're really going to learn and not make the same mistake again, you know? So make the mistake, believe in yourself, and go after everything that you want to go after. Have that self-confidence. You know, you got to build that first before anything.
I'm going to ask you like an either or question.
Okay.
Then we'll be done.
Let's do it.
Okay. Flips or rental properties?
Right now, flips, rental properties within the 5-10 year mark.
Okay. Wholesaling or flips?
Wholesaling.
Wholesaling. Stocks or NFTs?
Stocks.
Stocks or crypto?
Stocks.
What stocks you invested in?
Well, I have a couple of dividend stocks that I invest in. Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Tesla, Apple. Apple's like, I'm putting in over $200 a month into Apple stock. Yeah, because I like dividend paying stocks. Because at the end of the day, when you invest in dividends, they pay you out quarterly for investing in them. Like, and granted, it's a slow process when it comes to that, but it can be a substantial help down the line as far as people live off dividends. You know, Warren Buffett, which is one of the best investors out there in the world, arguably, but he has millions and billions of dollars a year of doing nothing just from investing in dividends for over like 50 years, you know? I learned a lot from him.
How many stocks of Apple you own?
Right now, I want to look at my phone. I want to say 250 shares. I do. Apple, yeah. I love Apple a lot. And I was a day trader for over 2 years too. So I used to day trade Apple a lot. And when you day trade, you know, you hold it. It can be up to a minute. It can be 5 minutes. It can be 10 minutes. And it's just like a lot of stocks that I just like look at because they're volatile. And when stocks are volatile, you're able to make good money while you're a day trader.
Okay.
And my book, Stocking Up, I believe chapter 9 can teach you a lot about stocks.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Money or equity?
Equity. Give me the equity. Okay. I like long term. I'm a long term girl.
850 credit score, $1 million.
How about I'm already 800? Let me stop. I think I'll do $1 million. I'll take the $1 million instead of credit because I feel like a lot of credit is debt. You know what I mean? And you can take some of that $1 million that I have to help fix the credit to make it 850. So definitely the $1 million.
Okay. Turo or Airbnb?
Airbnb.
Airbnb. A regular account or business account?
Business account. Tax write-offs out the ass.
LLC or S Corp?
Ooh, S Corp. I think it's funny because I have an LLC and I'm trying to change it to an S Corp. So S Corp.
What you gotta do to change it?
Huh?
What you gotta do to change it?
Well, first of all, it's like a couple of stipulations and things that you have to do in order to change it to an App Store. Like you have to make a certain amount of money, and it takes a little while. I don't think you could just do S Corp first. So it's like LLC, and then you can transition your way into there after a while. You know, it takes a little while. Everybody's different, you know what I mean? But I heard S Corp is better to have than an LLC just for certain reasons, tax reasons and things like that. So I just want to do everything the right way, the legal way, and find the cuts around it, you know? So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I love